Hey, we're live.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's trial will begin on Sunday, May 24, 2020. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has announced that he will surrender power and turn over governing of the Palestinian territories to Israel. Netanyahu has announced he will move to annex all West Bank settlements and the Jordan Valley beginning July the 1st of 2020. What does it all mean? We'll talk about it and a whole lot more on today's edition of End of the Age. Well, it's our favorite day of the week. It's open line. That means we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you'd like to be on the air with me, the number to call, 877-END-TIME, 877-363-8463. If you need to speak to our operators, that number is 800-END-TIME. So if you'd like to be on the air, we do have lines open to begin with. That won't last long, so now's the time to call. The number to call, 877-END-TIME. 877-363-8463. Now, before I come to the phones, let me remind you that we have a free offer. It's been the most popular thing we've ever done, frankly. That is, we give you free access to our entire Endtime website. We're talking about hundreds of hours of DVD, books, everything that's there, all of our previous magazines. All that is accessible to you free of charge for 2 weeks. All you do is go to watch.endtime.com, and immediately it will give you access there for you to be able to enjoy that for a 2-week period. Now, at the end of the 2 weeks, if you decide you would like to continue, and we certainly hope that you will, then there's just a small monthly fee. I think it's $12.99 per month, and you get free subscription to the magazine. You get to listen to our radio program every day, everything we produce, all the podcasts, all the videos, everything. It's all right there, yours, at the touch of your finger, the click of a mouse. So anyway, it's a great thing. I think you'll really like it. I hope you will. So go ahead and try your free trial. Watch.endtime.com. I'll tell you how popular it is. We've only been offering it for a few weeks. I think we've already had something like 2,800 people sign up. So it is popping. It's very, very popular, and I think you will like it as well. Okay, well, today is open line. Oh, by the way, one more thing before I come to the phones. Dave Robbins is going to be in Shady Grove United Pentecostal Church in Jena, Louisiana. The location is 1384 Highway 460 in Jena. He will be there Friday night, May the 29th at 7 p.m. He'll be speaking on Satan's End Time Plan Revealed. I love this lesson because it shows you everything that Satan's up to between now and the Battle of Armageddon. You'll really understand it. And then on Saturday, May the 30th at 6 p.m., Breaking Prophetic Fulfillments. Dave will bring you right up to date with everything. So Friday night, 7 p.m., May the 29th. Saturday night, 6 p.m., May the 30th. Jena, Louisiana, Shady Grove United Pentecostal Church, 1384 Highway 460 in Jena. Get out there. I know you're going to love it. So you'll look forward to being with David and Jana. Jana's my daughter. Dave's my son-in-law. You'll enjoy it so very much. They're a delight to be around. All right, let's get now to the phones, and let's start out. Speaking of Louisiana, let's go to Louisiana. Jeremy is calling. Hello, Jeremy.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you.
Hey, I had a question about the four horsemen and how y'all determined the white horse stands for Catholicism and The red one stands for communism and so on.
Yes. Well, let me tell you
And
what
if you
happened.
got time, if you can answer, like if you know, like how long it would take them to build the temple when that time comes.
Okay, well, let's start with the four horsemen first. The traditional interpretation of the four horsemen, many people believe the white horse rider is the Antichrist. Many people believe that the red horse rider is war, that the black horse rider is famine, and that the pale horse rider is death. Well, I read the commentaries and I wondered how they got those things. They didn't seem to match, especially since the black horse, if that's going to be famine, then the pale horse rider was to kill with hunger and with death. And I thought, that appears to be a duplication. How do we know that's what all these things stand for? So I began to seek, and I found another account of the prophecy, the same prophecy in the Old Testament in Zechariah 6, verse 1 through 8. It's interesting that the New Testament account is Revelation 6, 1 through 8. So when I read the account in Zechariah, there it tells you what these horses and their riders represent. It says there that these four horses are the four spirits that go forth from the Lord of all the earth. Now, we'll talk more about it as soon as we get back because we're up against a hard break. Stay right there with us. If you want to be on the air with me, the number to call, 877-Endtime.
I have left a piece of my heart in Israel and her people. We would like to thank Endtime for doing such an awesome job with our Israel tour. We marvel at your team keeping the time schedule, keeping everyone comfortable, the wonderful driver, the brilliant guide, the entire tour program, good hotel choices, and stellar food. We had the privilege to rub shoulders with Pastor Baxter, listen to his current teachings, and had some interesting questions answered so eloquently. He is wonderful. Helene from Australia.
Experience the Holy Land in the most amazing way. Join Irvin and Judy Baxter for our upcoming Israel tour. For more information, go to endtime.com or call 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463.
We've seen Bible prophecy fulfilled like never before. From the halls of the United Nations to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, End Time Ministries continues to reveal the Bible prophecy in the news headlines around the world every day. Whether it's through our broadcast or online at our Jerusalem Prophecy College, your gifts enable us to put vital materials in the hands of those who need it most. Because of you, we continue to replace fear with faith in the hearts of Christians around the world. We will continue to see prophecy come to pass at an even swifter pace. We need your support. Your donation of any amount enables us to continue to broadcast and be a voice in the ever-growing censored media. To become a partner or give a one-time gift, visit endtime.com or call 1-800-END-TIME right now. That's 800-363-8463. Go online now. Visit endtime.com.
Before our break, Jeremy had asked about the four horsemen of the apocalypse in Revelation chapter 6, verse 1 through 8. And so now we're talking about that. Zechariah 6, 1 through 8 gives the same vision. There's four horses there too. In both places, the colors are the same, white, red, black. And in the King James Version, in the book of Revelation, it says the fourth horse is the pale horse. In the Zechariah account, it says the fourth horse is grizzled and bay. So I had to do some study to harmonize that together. Nevertheless, so once I saw from Zechariah chapter number 6, I think it's verse 4 or 5, it says, these are the four spirits that go forth from standing before the Lord into all the earth. I thought, spirits? I wonder what that could mean. And it says they go forth into all the earth. So apparently they're international. Well, one day it just sort of hit me that there's an international spirit that influences men and its official color is red. I mean, the colors have to be significant because it's the same colors in Zechariah as it is in Revelation. I thought red China, red Russia, the official color of communism is red. Well, I read the passage in Revelation, and the red horse rider had a great sword, and he went forth to take peace from the earth. Well, that's communism for sure, because communism has been very militant. Everywhere they go, there is revolution. And I put it all together, and I thought, wow, this matches. So I reserved judgment for a while, but then I went to the next horse, the black horse, and the black horse had a pair of balances in his hand. And I thought, well, what is the counterpart to communism? Well, it's capitalism, of course. That's what the Cold War was all about. And so I thought, well, could the black horse be capitalism? And the pair of balances, capitalism's message is trade. I mean, you want to be capitalistic because your standard of living will be higher. It'll make you rich. And the voice said under the fourth horse, under the third horse, the black horse, a measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou don't hurt the oil and the wine. And I thought, that sounds an awful lot like a stock market report. Dow Jones Industrial's up so much, AT&T down so much, and it's the economy, stupid. Remember that slogan from Bill Clinton's presidential campaign? Don't hurt the oil and the wine. You can do almost anything in a capitalist country and get reelected. But if you hurt the economy, you're in trouble. Well, I thought, okay. Then I later on found out that black is the official color of capitalism as much as red is the official color of communism. I thought, this is getting spooky. This is matching too close. Well, then I was stuck on the white horse. I thought, who could the white horse be? And this is one of Jeremy's big questions. And I was holding a revival in Indianapolis, Indiana. I went into the pastor's office on Sunday afternoon to pray, preparing for the service that night. And as I was there on my knees, I looked over at his bookshelves, and there was a book. And it was called, it was Catholicism, capitalism, and let me see if I can say this right. It was capitalism, communism, and Catholic power. And I thought, wait a minute. 2 of those are what I think the horses are. I wonder why Catholicism is put together. Well, I read the book. It was by Mr. Paul Blanchard. And it's not a religious book at all. It's not a prophecy book. It's a political science book. And he simply said that these are the 3 spirits that dominate the world, that control the politics of the world, the people of the world, that people are either controlled by Catholicism or communism or capitalism. I thought, wow, this makes so much sense. So my next question was, well, does white have anything to do with Catholicism? Well, I found out that the Pope's helicopter is white, and that his Pope mobile is white, and that the airplane that Alitalia Airlines donates for him to use is white. And I saw pictures of the Pope, and he's almost always dressed in white. I found books that said that's the traditional color that the Pope wears is white. And then it talks about the rider on the white horse having a bow but no arrows. So he's got weapons, but he's not shooting live ammunition. And everything fit together and made sense to me. And I found one proof after another. Well, then I got stuck on the fourth horse, the pale horse, and I couldn't figure it out. So for several years I said, well, it says the pale horse goes forth to kill with death, with pestilence, with the beasts of the earth. I guess the pale horse is death, and it says hell follows with him. So it's death, and the sooner people die, the sooner they go to hell. And so that's the way I taught it for a while, but I was never comfortable because it didn't seem to fit. Catholicism, communism, capitalism, death. It didn't match. So a few years ago, I decided to go take one more look. And this time I decided I'm going to look up the original word that was translated pale, as in pale horse. And I found out the original word was chloros. And I thought, chloros? That sounds like chlorophyll. That's what makes the plants green. Well, then I looked in a Greek dictionary, and chloros means green, and yet they translate it pale. And I thought, why did they do that? Why didn't they say the green horse? Well, it dawned on me. I took some languages when I was in school, and they always taught you that if you're translating, your translation should make sense. Well, obviously, nobody's ever seen a green horse, so undoubtedly when the translator was working on it, he says, green horse, I can't put that in there. Everybody will laugh me out of the classroom. And so one of the definitions of chloros is pale green. He decided to use the word pale and drop the word green because pale horse, everybody's seen a pale horse. Well, in so doing, he distorted the whole meaning of the prophecy, because now the word chloros is used 4 times in the New Testament. 3 out of the 4 times it was translated green because that's the proper translation. But in Revelation 6, verse number 8, it was translated pale, which was an improper translation, because these were not literal horses. These were spirits. And I found that there's another ism in the world whose official color is green. The official color of Islam is green. Muhammad's favorite color was green. And to this day, the official color of Islam is green. So now you've got Catholicism, communism, capitalism, and Islamism. Now everything makes sense. So that's the way I arrived at my understanding, and everything fits to that point. And like I said, red China, red Russia, everybody knows that. That's drop dead simple. If you have any doubts about green, go to the Mount of Olives at night and watch the lights flicker on all over the city, and everywhere you see a mosque, you'll see green come on, because all of the prayer towers are lit up in green, because that is the official color, and they use it everywhere. So anyway, that's the way I came to the conclusion about the proper understanding of the 4 horses. And that's another reason that's so important, is because when you get to Revelation 17, there's a 7-headed, 10-horned beast, which symbolizes the Antichrist and his kingdom. And that beast is red, which means the end-time world government is going to be socialistic or communistic, same thing. So consequently, that's the kingdom of the Antichrist is going to be a socialist government. Most of the kingdoms of the world have already gone socialist in preparation for the Antichrist. Now, Jeremy asked one more question. I'm going to try to answer it real quick. How long will it take to build the temple? I asked Rabbi Chaim Richman, who is the executive director of the Temple Institute in Jerusalem. I asked him, how long, if the government called you today and say, go build your temple, the way it's cleared, how long would it take you? He said to me, we believe with modern technology, we could do it within 1 year. Well, I believe him, because the Bible teaches when they make the agreement that launches the final 7 years, that the temple will be finished and in use within 3.5 years. So when he told me they could do it within 1 year with modern technology, once they sign the agreement, they start setting the wheels in motion, and they build the temple, they believe they can do it in about 1 year. Okay, that's the answer there. I hope that helps you. Let's go now to Derek, calling from Ohio. Hello, Derek.
How you doing, Brother Irvin?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
Excellent. In one of your teachings, you talk about Pope Malachi and his prophecy regarding the 112th Pope would be an evil Pope.
Yes.
So this Pope that is present now, would he fit that timeline? I know when you go to Wikipedia and you look up how many popes that exist, Wikipedia says 266. So at what point in Pope Malachi's prophecy did he actually start counting?
I believe that he had his vision, according to him, and this is strictly his word. He supposedly traveled to Rome, and while he was there, he had a vision. I think this was somewhere around 1134. And he claims that he was told that from then till the last pope would be 112 popes. Now, depending on who's doing the counting from the time of St. Malachi in 1134 or 36, whatever that is, until today, many people believe that Pope Francis is the 112th. Now, there's a little bit of confusion because in that time period, there were a couple of times that there were two popes at one time. And so there's a lot of argument over, is this really the 112th? Is it the 111th? Is it the 113th? I do not know how to answer that question. But anyway, that's the overview of that prophecy by St. Malachi and where we are right now.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay. Thank you very much, Derek. I appreciate it. Let's go now to Monica calling from Wyoming. Hello, Monica.
Hi, good afternoon, Brother Baxter. How are you?
I'm doing so good. Thank you.
I've got a question. It's kind of off the subject. I'm going to kind of take us back to Genesis. I was just curious to know if this is, if you can interpret this, or Revelations 7 to 10. They're talking about the war broke out in heaven, and I'll take my answer off the air after this. They were talking about the war broke out in heaven, and Michael and the angels fought against the dragon. Is this before Satan? Does this refer back to Genesis?
So, Monica, you're referring to Revelation chapter 12.
Correct, verse 7.
Yeah, and it starts out with a woman travailing to have a child. The woman has 12 stars upon her head. And when the child was born, Satan stood before the woman attempting to devour the child as quickly as he was born. He failed. Instead, the child was caught up to God and to the throne. The woman there is Israel. The depiction of the woman there is very similar to Genesis, I think it's chapter 28, where Joseph had his dream of the sun, the moon, the 12 stars. Well, the same thing was true in Revelation chapter number 12, another depiction of the nation of Israel, the woman with the 12 stars. Anyway, the child was caught up to God and his throne. Then the narrative skips 2,000 years, and you get to verse 5 and 6, and it says, and Satan was wroth with the woman and went to make war against the woman and the remnant of her seed. Then it shifts again in verse number 7, and it says, then Satan and his angels went to make war against God and his angels. This is Satan's final attempt to overthrow God and to displace him. Well, the Bible says Michael led the angels of heaven against Satan and his angels. Satan was defeated, and his penalty for being defeated and attempting this overthrow was that he was cast out into and confined to the earth and banished from ever again appearing before God. Now, Satan can appear before God right now. That's been true since the beginning of the creation. For example, when the angels came before God to give an account for their daily administrations, the Bible says that Satan came also with them, and God said, have you considered my servant Job? He said, sure I have, but you've got a hedge around him. So Satan was the accuser of the brethren in the Old Testament. He's still the accuser of the brethren today. However, when you get to verse 10 of that chapter, it says, glory and honor to him that sits on the throne, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which did accuse them before our God day and night, but they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. And then in verse 12 of chapter 12, it says, woe be to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for Satan comes down to you having great wrath, knowing that he hath but a short time. So when this war in heaven takes place, there's only a short time left, and we know exactly how much time, because when you leave verse 12 and go to verse 13, it says that Satan went to make war against the woman and the remnant of her seed, and then in verse 14 it says, and there was given to the woman 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might be nourished from the face of the serpent for time, times, and half a time. That terminology is used several times in the Bible. Every time it means 3.5 years. A time is 1 year, times is 2 years, and half a time is half of a year. So the length of the Great Tribulation is 3.5 years. When the war in heaven takes place, Satan is confined to the earth. Woe be to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for Satan comes down to you having great wrath, knowing that he hath but a short time. That's what triggers the Great Tribulation. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking the Great Tribulation is God's wrath. It's not. It's Satan's wrath. Woe be to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for Satan comes down to you having great wrath, knowing that he hath but a short time. He then goes to make war against the woman Israel, but Israel is going to be protected by 2 wings of a great eagle. There is a nation on the earth today whose official symbol is the eagle. Just happens to be Israel's very best friend. And we have been protecting Israel for a long time now. We've used our veto power repeatedly at the United Nations, I think 43 times in the last 40 or 50 years. When the United Nations has come down to try to pass a resolution against Israel, we have vetoed it over and over again. So verse 14 shows America protecting Israel in the end time all the way through the Great Tribulation period. Now, I gave you a lot of information, but does that help?
Yes, it did, Brother Baxter. Thank you.
Okay, you're most welcome. Wow, this Bible is incredibly exciting. And when you put it all together properly, well, it'll almost make your hair stand on end. All right, let's get right back to the phones. Do we have time? No, we don't have time. We've only got 45 seconds left. So let me pause right now to mention to you once again our free offer. You can have unlimited access to everything on our website, hundreds of hours of DVDs, many other things that are there. All you have to do is go to watch.endtime.com, and there it'll give you access for the next 2 weeks. At the end of the two weeks, if you'd like to continue, then you can subscribe for a very small monthly fee. 2,800 people have done that so far in the last few weeks. I think you'll enjoy it as well. So don't forget, go to watch.endtime.com. Start your free offer today at the end of the 2 weeks. If you don't like it, then that'll be the end of it. But I think you'll like it.
Move Mountains with Irvin Baxter. This book by Irvin's grandson provides 30 days of devotion that will enhance your relationship with God and others. Authentic illustrations from early morning devotions at Endtime will help you find your purpose and eliminate fears. Commit to taking this 30-day journey and experience real life change. Get your book for only $14.99. Call 1-800-363-8463 or go to endtime.com/move.
I have left a piece of my heart in Israel and her people. We would like to thank Endtime for doing such an awesome job with our Israel tour. We marvel at your team keeping the time schedule, keeping everyone comfortable, the wonderful driver, the brilliant guide, the entire tour program, good hotel choices, and stellar food. We had the privilege to rub shoulders with Pastor Baxter, listen to his current teachings, and had some interesting questions answered so eloquently. He is wonderful. Helene from Australia.
Experience the Holy Land in the most amazing way. Join Irvin and Judy Baxter for our upcoming Israel tour. For more information, go to endtime.com or call 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463.
If your station only carries the first 30 minutes of End of the Age, go to endtime.com and click the watch button to continue today's broadcast. You can also finish up later by clicking the archive button.
I don't know whether you fully realize it or not, but we are walking right down through the halls of end-time prophecy right now. So many things are happening. We're getting ready to see the expansion of the land of Israel. There's been two things happen so far, and that is the founding of Israel on May the 14th in 1948, and then there was the 6-day war, when Israel drove the Jordanians out of the West Bank, the area called Judea. They've been in control of it ever since. Now they annexed Jerusalem, East Jerusalem, back in 1980. Now then, it looks like around July the 1st, they are going to annex all of the settlements, because between 1967 and today, there have been close to 800,000 Jews move out into the West Bank. Now that counts the 350,000 or so that are in East Jerusalem, but between East Jerusalem and the settlements, about 800,000 settlers have moved out there. Well, the peace plan that has been produced by President Trump says that Israel should be able to annex all of those settlements, every single one of them. Not one Jew will be left living under the Palestinian state. They will be able to annex those settlers when this time comes, and that date is set for July the 1st. So we're getting ready to see another big advance of Israel. It'll be the third one since 1948. It'll be prophetic, no doubt about it. We'll be talking a whole lot more about it as we go along. Okay. Well, it's time to get right back to the phones. Looks like one of our callers left us. I was all geared up to answer that question. Nevertheless, let's go to Ralph, calling from Alabama. Hello, Ralph.
Hey, Irvin, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. Ralph, what are you doing in Alabama?
Oh, I'm passing through.
Okay. All right. Well, what's on your mind today?
Well, I would like to talk about this coronavirus and how it's affecting the world economy. I've been telling you for some time now that I thought we were going to have a world economic collapse, and that the dollar wouldn't be the world reserve currency because the beast nations were going to move to the mark of the beast system. I think this is it. I think this coronavirus, they've shut down the world economy, and the small businesses are probably not going to make it, or a lot of them. And the big businesses are going to go all digital, and I think they're going to reset the entire system and want to go to an all digital system worldwide, and where they can do negative interest rates and social credit score and all this. And I believe this is going to lead to the mark of the beast system. And I think this is exactly what I've been telling you about for some time, that was going to happen.
Well, you know, Ralph, the coronavirus, God has got to be in the middle of it. You cannot have an event that changes the whole world without God's hand behind the whole thing. Now, whether he sent this as judgment, I tend to think he did do that, because the world basically has gone very sinful. And I read an article just this morning that people are turning to God more than ever before. And President Trump held a press conference just today defending churches' right to open. He has just now declared church an essential function. It's just as essentially said as grocery stores. So he is declaring that the churches can open using the proper discrimination and the proper calculations to keep everyone safe. So I do believe that coronavirus has two effects. It has driven some people to God. Other people, I think, it's driving them, like you said, toward a cashless society. Bill Gates, he wants to have a vaccine that everyone would be forced to have, that would give you permission to go back to work. However, it doesn't look like he's probably going to prevail in that desire. But like you say, a lot of people are moving now toward a cashless society. Cashless societies are gaining momentum as never before. Some people say, I don't want your cash, because you may be giving me the coronavirus when you give me all that cash. And of course, there's a lot of methods out now where you can actually just use your imprint or your facial imprint, just a machine looking at you, and you can pay your bills that way. So all these things are coming very rapidly now with all the cryptocurrencies that are making their appearance. So we're definitely moving toward the mark of the beast. We know we still got a little bit of time yet before the Antichrist will be revealed, but probably not much time.
Right. Yes, sir.
Well, okay, well, Ralph, we've been talking about these things a long time, but let me tell you, it's getting closer right now than it has ever been before. It's going to be so interesting. Sure nice to hear from you from Alabama. You're normally in Texas, but I know you drive a truck, so you truck drivers do get around. Nice to hear from you, Ralph. Thank you very much for calling us. Now let's go to Michael calling from Puerto Rico. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Irvin.
Yes.
Yes, nice to talk to you, sir. I just wanted to share, I agree with the previous caller, and that the coronavirus could be a platform for the mark of the beast, but I had a dream or a night vision myself about the what I believe was the coronavirus. I saw an elderly gentleman that was regurgitating, and this substance was causing sickness and death, and I believe that this gentleman was like a symbol of the collective unconscious of the Father, and that all the moral impurity in the hearts and minds of the people was being spewed forth and was causing the sickness. So it's a sort of judgment. But so I believe that it's a call to not only social distance, but to a call to moral purity and intimacy with the Lord. And real quick, Reverend Baxter, if I could share a book that I believe will help a lot of people. It's called Strengthen Yourself in the Lord by Bill Johnson. And there's another one called The Glory by Guillermo Maldonado. And basically, these books talk about a sustained intimacy with the Lord, the intimacy with the Holy Spirit, through moral purity and moral sanctification. That when you practice that, you align yourself with God and you unleash the supernatural and the prophetic. And so these people walk in the supernatural, and they say that the secret to the supernatural is the moral intimacy with the Holy Spirit. And so if the church would heed the call of this coronavirus and practice moral purity and moral intimacy, that the supernatural can be unleashed and we can see the end-time revival. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I hope you have a good day and a blessed week.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Michael. And let me add to what Michael has to say. All of us do need to draw near to God right now. The Bible prophesies a great revival is coming. It also prophesies a great apostasy is coming. Both of those things are prophesied in depth in the book of Revelation. We know the Antichrist and the false prophet is coming. The false prophet will he will be able to do miracles. The Bible says he will pull down fire from heaven. And if you don't know the truth, you're going to be deceived by him and the Antichrist. The Bible teaches that most Christians, both Catholic and Protestant, will follow the false prophet right into the arms of the one world church and the one world government. So you don't want that to happen, but it will happen to you unless you know the scriptures. On the other hand, Revelation chapter 7 says at the same time there's going to be a great revival. Now that's where we want to be. So the last question, and Michael mentioned this, how do we draw near to God? Let's just say that you and I want to draw near to God. The way to do that is to spend time in his presence. Daily prayer. I cannot emphasize it too much. Every person needs to learn how to pray. And really, you learn how to pray like you learn how to swim. You get in the water and you just keep trying it. You get advice from your friends and you keep trying it until after a while you're able to swim with the best of them. Well, that's the way prayer is. When you get down to pray, you don't recite a bunch of mumbo jumbo. You don't say a bunch of fancy words. Prayer is just talking to God from your heart. You may say, God, I'm not even worthy to be here and talk to you, but I am hungry for you. I want to know you. I love you. I believe your word. And I believe you died for my salvation what little bit I understand about it, and then start studying your Bible. And there's two ways you know Jesus Christ, through spirit and truth. The Bible says the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. And the truth you get by listening to God-called preachers preaching, plus studying God's Word, the Bible. And then the Spirit you get through worship, through singing. You get the Spirit through praying. And when you're praying, pull every thought into captivity and just get your mind right on the Lord and talk to Him, and just do it in sincerity. And during that time, you never know what God may do in your life. I've had some wonderful experiences with the Lord in prayer. And if you'll spend time with the Lord, He will come to you from time to time. And that's what America and the entire world needs to be doing right now. I don't want to take any more time right now, but anyway, that's so vital and so important for us to know. Okay, let's go now. Let me see, where are we? Let's go to Canada. Joseph is calling from Canada. Hello, Joseph.
Hello, my brother. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you, Joseph.
Yes, it's nice to talking to you. So many comments today. I would like to comment on a couple of things. You mentioned the apostasy. The apostasy is already here, my brother. The apostasy has come and is been established. All of the churches, all of the religions of the world, they have come together ecumenically and in interfaith. So the apostasy has now happened. Now we need to work on the people who attend those churches and warn them. It was mentioned Bill Gates. Yes, Bill Gates is doing the wrong things right now, but Bill Gates is going to have a big turnaround. And we have to watch for Bill Gates soon, because when the turnaround happens, the Lord says that He will open the gate of the financial realm of the church. The question why I called you today was Revelation 17, and the verses that I want to talk to you about is verse 8, and then verse 9, and 10 and 11. In verse 8 it says, "The beast that you sawest," because somebody called about the Pope, and so my comment is about Pope Francis. "The beast that you saw was and is not, and it shall ascend out of the bottomless pit." And we know that the beast will come out of the bottomless pit on the three after 3.5 years. So he will be here to rule the world for 3.5 years, and he goes into perdition. So, but then down it says, "And here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth." And
listen, Joseph, I'm sure you hear the music, so we can't take any more time. I'll try to make comments because I think I know where you're going as soon as we get back from this break. To all of you out there, it is so vital to know your Bible. The best tool I know of is the Jerusalem Prophecy College. If you'd like to enroll, just go to JerusalemProphecyCollege.com.
Does the book of Revelation frighten you? Do its symbols confuse you? For centuries, the book of Revelation has been misunderstood and misinterpreted. In Revelation, the unveiling of Jesus Christ, Volume 1, Irvin Baxter unlocks the mystery of the book of Revelation with in-depth analysis and commentary like you've never heard before. This 10-part definitive DVD series and 268-page comprehensive commentary book covers the first 12 chapters of the book of Revelation, featuring on-location photography, classic artwork, and symbolic illustrations. You'll walk away with complete understanding and peace about the events happening during the final years on Earth. These comprehensive study tools, available for $299, will deepen your biblical understanding as you dig into the original intent of the book, answering the mysterious prophecies and symbols of the book of Revelation. Don't miss this special offer. Call now, 1-800-ENDTIME, or go to endtime.com to order. Call or go online now to get this comprehensive Bible study.
I know Joseph was wanting to go into the teachings of Revelation 17, and that would take a long time to do it justice. But I want to say to all of you out there, that is really critical to know. And we have a DVD. It's called True Christianity versus False Christianity. I made a statement early in the program that most Christians, both Catholic and Protestant, will end up following the Antichrist and the false prophet into the one world government of the end time. And all who do that will be forever damned. You do not want to be a part of that number. If you want to understand this 17th chapter, and it's absolutely essential that you understand it, I would encourage you to get the DVD, True Christianity versus False Christianity. And it will tell you exactly how to tell the difference. And you'll be able to tell whether the church you're attending is a true Christian church or a false Christian church. Now, if you go through our Jerusalem Prophecy College, you will get this material. Matter of fact, we'll go through that chapter twice during that time. However, if you'd like to get it immediately, then just pick up the phone and call us, 1-800-ENDTIME, or you can go to our website and you can order it from right there. It's called True Christianity versus False Christianity. In my opinion, every human being on the planet should go through that. Now, I will warn you, though, this is one DVD where we don't skirt any issues. We come out of the closet, lay it on the line, no honey added, no varnish. We present the raw truth because it's that important. We don't want you to finish with that DVD wondering what we said. But I think every person on the planet should go through True Christianity versus False Christianity. If you would like to, call us. The number to call, 1-800-ENDTIME. Now, here's the name of the DVD again, True Christianity versus False Christianity. You need to go through that DVD. Now, let's go right back to the phones now. And I want to go now to Texas. Fee is calling from Texas. Hello, Fee. Welcome.
Hi, Dr. Irvin.
Yes, what's on your mind?
I'm so excited to get you. But anyway, sir, my question is that once the Jews fleeing in the West Bank, going to valley, to the Jordan Valley, because I'm really wondering, they're already surrounded with enemies. Are they not going to be killed during that period of time or during that escaping?
Jesus is the one that prophesied about this in Matthew 24. And he said, when you see the abomination of desolation, that's when the Antichrist will stand on the Temple Mount, claiming to be Messiah and God. He said, when you see that, if you live out in Judea, that's the West Bank, then immediately flee to the mountains, because then will be great tribulation such as never been before nor ever again shall be. Now, this is so important because the stage is being set for this prophecy in the next month or two. In President Trump's plan, the plan is all the Jews that live in the West Bank right now will be allowed to stay, and yet many of them live in areas that will become part of the Palestinian state. Now, President Trump says they can stay there, and they will stay Jews, and Israel controls that territory, but Palestine will control all the territory all about them. Well, the problem is these people are going to be in very dangerous positions, because all they have to do is have their road cut off that leads them back to Israel proper, and they're stranded, and the Palestinians can close in on them and slaughter them. Well, that's exactly what's happening. They're drawing up the map right now for the Palestinian state, and there's dots all over this map inside the Palestinian state showing where the settlements, the Jewish settlements are, with a line leading back to Israel proper. Well, that's setting the stage for the fulfillment of Matthew chapter number 24, verse 15 through 21. And that's the reason we're planning on going to Israel before it's time for this great slaughter to take place, which will be 3.5 years after the signing of the Middle East peace agreement. When it's time for that slaughter to take place, I want to take 1,000 people to Israel, and I want us to go out and knock on every one of those Jewish doors and tell them what's getting ready to happen to them. We'll probably go 6 months in advance, and we want to tell them what's getting ready to happen to them and warn them, because we don't want them to be slaughtered. If they listen to us, they'll be saved. If they fail to listen, then sad to say, they will end up fulfilling the prophecy. So exactly what the Bible prophesies, they're drawing the map for it right now. There's a committee made up of Americans and Jews, and they're drawing up this map. They're supposed to have it done by July the 1st, which is about a month now. And once they get the map done, that's when Netanyahu claims that he is going to go ahead and annex the settlements. Now, the Arabs, the Palestinians, are so angry over this, and yet it is going to happen, and it's going to set up the stage for all these Jews having to flee, and we're going to do our very best to help them know how to flee and how to be safe. Hope that answers your question, Fee.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Okay. You're most welcome. I mean, we're living right in the middle of prophecy. This prophecy of Matthew 24, 15 through 21, the stage is being set for it right now. And we'll see it done over the next month or two. But the slaughter won't come for another 3.5 years. So it's going to be so vital, though, for us to understand what's going on now, and then we're going to be prepared to help our Jewish brethren before that time comes, because we don't want harm to come to them. But it is coming. Jesus said, flee into the mountains if you're on your housetop when this event happens. Don't even come down into your house to grab your clothes, because verse 21 says, then shall be great tribulation, such as never been before, no, nor ever again shall be. Okay, right back to the phones now, and let's go to Rick, calling from right here in Texas. Hello, Rick.
Yeah. You have two questions real quick, and I'll take them offline. Jesus said that there's going to be famines and earthquakes in different places, and he said this is just the beginning of sorrows. Do you think the coronavirus was the beginning of those sorrows? And also, number two, there's 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and do you think that these will happen all at the same time, or in sequence, one right after another, and how long is those sequences? And I'll take it offline.
Okay. Well, let me answer your last question first. I believe that the 4 horsemen have already been unleashed, and those powers are in the earth today. Almost every nation on earth today is either under the control of Catholicism, communism, capitalism, or Islamism. And sometimes there's a mixture, but most of the time, the people's allegiance is for one or other of those ideologies. And those have been unloosed for a long, long time, and the nations are struggling. These different powers are struggling to get control of the nations. And so that is happening right now. Now, as far as the coronavirus, do I believe it's the beginning of sorrows? I believe it's part of the beginning of sorrows. And the Bible, Jesus talked about the beginning of sorrows, which will take place before the beginning of the final 7 years and before the Great Tribulation itself, which is the final 3.5 years. So yes, I do believe we are witnessing the beginning of sorrows. I noticed this morning, I think the World Bank has contributed $500 million to try to offset this horrible plague of locusts that's going through Africa right now. I think that's another signal of the beginning of sorrows. So it's very interesting as we see all this coming down. Okay, let me go now to Wayne, calling from Ohio. Hello, Wayne.
Hello, Irvin, Baxter. I love to talk to you. You're a good ministry. You're a good prophecy ministry. I wanted to know that if this is going to be the year of the tribulation starting, and when they're going to get, if they already have a government in Israel already or not, I want to hear the answers.
Yeah, Wayne, they do have a government. It was sworn in Sunday. So they've had a government now for 5 days. And also something interesting, the trial of Benjamin Netanyahu starts this Sunday in 2 days. He is the prime minister of Israel right now, and at the same time, he is being placed on trial for 3 different offenses he has been accused of. Now, we don't know how long this trial is going to take place. It could be months. It could even be 2 or 3 years. We don't know. We don't know whether he will be acquitted. He claims that he's totally innocent. or whether he will be put in prison. We don't know that either. Anyway, that's going on right now. Now, we're not in the
tribulation.
No, we're not in the tribulation yet, Wayne. The tribulation.
When will we be? The question.
Well, once they sign the peace agreement in Israel, that will start the final 7 years. But the tribulation doesn't start then. The tribulation is only the last 3.5 years. So there's a 7-year period called Daniel's 70th week, and then halfway through that time is when the Great Tribulation begins, and it will last for the final 3.5 years, culminating with the Battle of Armageddon. And it's during the Battle of Armageddon that Jesus Christ will return to the earth. Wayne, got to let you go. Thank you very much for your call. We appreciate it so very much. You know, there's so much going on in our world. Let me see if we can take one more call. Amanda's calling from Alabama. Hello, Amanda.
Hello, Irvin.
Yes, what's on your mind, Amanda?
Wow, what wonderful questions today. And I thought since you was on the subject, I would call back and ask you if you happen to have a chance to check on Zechariah 1:8 about the speckled horse. And down in my footnotes, I'm in the King James Version, it does have or bay. And I know over in Revelation 6:4, it's also talking about the red horse over there. I'm thinking it talks about the myrtle trees, and behind him were their red horses, speckled and white. So I'm thinking that the speckled horse has something to do with the red horses as well, and I was wondering if you had a chance to check on it.
Well, you know, I am confident that this is related in some way to Zechariah 6, verse 1 through 8, where there's red horses, black horses, white horses, and speckled and gray horses. I think they're probably related in some way. I have not been able to come up with a conclusion to my satisfaction exactly how all this ties together. So I hate not to be able to totally answer your question, but this is one of those questions that I am not yet satisfied that I have a true answer for. So I'm going to have to beg off and beg ignorance on this one until the next time, Amanda.
Okay, that's okay, Irvin. I completely understand. I hope you have a wonderful evening and weekend.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Amanda. A while ago, when I was talking to all of you about the Jerusalem Prophecy College, I sort of waited too long to give you the information that you need, so I don't want to do that again. Because if I had my choice, every one of you would be enrolled in the Jerusalem Prophecy College. I mean, every single person. There's nothing that will get you ready for the final 7 years like this. So here's what you do. Go to JerusalemProphecyCollege.com. Then register, then enroll in your first course. Now, you got time before the final 7 years begins to get through the first 6 lessons at least, if you'll start right now. One more time, JerusalemProphecyCollege.com. Enroll, get started. Thank you very much. God bless you.
This has been End of the Age, brought to you by the faithful partners of Endtime Ministries. If you're not currently a partner with Endtime Ministries, or if you would like more information, we invite you to call us at 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463, or visit us online at endtime.com.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page.